Welcome to this explainer. Today, we are unlocking something genuinely profound. We're going to explore the true mental potential that's literally just lying dormant inside every single one of us. You know, we constantly hear buzzwords about willpower and mental strength, but today, we're taking that to an entirely different level. We'll be framing it through the lens of a controversial, kind of misunderstood term, mesmerism, and the ancient concept of Atma Shakti. Prepare to look at your own mind in a completely new way. To start off, let's be real for a second and clear the air. When you hear the word mesmerism, what instantly pops into your head? For most of us, it's a cheap street magic trick, right? You probably picture some charlatan waving a pocket watch in front of a mesmerized crowd, maybe pulling a really confused rabbit out of a hat and begging for loose change. Well, this explainer is going to completely shatter that misconception. The texts we're looking at argue that this popular image is, frankly, a severe degradation of a very real, very potent psychological science.
So it's absolutely crucial we get our definitions right. At its core, true mesmerism is a deeply psychological science. It's based entirely on increasing, harnessing, and concentrating your own personal, internal, electrical, and mental energy. In ancient traditions, this profound inner willpower is known as Atma Shakti. So actually, scratch the parlor tricks. This isn't about controlling other people. It's a structured, rigorous method for cultivating your own ultimate inner engine.
Okay, here is our roadmap for today. 1. The real basis of mesmerism. 2. Physical strength without Atma Shakti. 3. Concentration of scattered powers. 4. Proof of Atma Shakti in history. And 5. Right use of spiritual wealth. Let's jump right into Section 1, the real basis of mesmerism.
Notice the direct contrast here. On one hand, we have the myth, a mere magic trick designed to entertain gullible crowds. But the reality? It's a deeply structured system meant to develop the mind's hidden electrical energy. The premise is that every human being possesses this internal, personal electricity. Mesmerism, in its absolute purest original form, is simply the practice of amplifying that exact energy. It's a tool for true, fundamental self-improvement, and it's completely grounded in psychological principles.
Moving right along to Section 2, physical strength without Atma Shakti.
Check out this staggering statistic from the text. 80% of youth are described as utterly hopeless and discouraged. I mean, think about that. They might be perfectly healthy physically, no major diseases or anything, yet they just sit around entirely unmotivated, literally with flies buzzing around their faces. Why is that? Well, because they lack the internal spark of Atma Shakti. They have zero self-confidence and zero internal drive. It's like their physical machine is totally fine, but the internal dynamo that powers the whole shebang is completely shut off. And this brilliantly hits the nail on the head. Just think about two incredible extremes. On one side, imagine a massive, muscular wrestler. If his inner willpower, his Atma Shakti, is weak, he could theoretically be mentally broken and defeated by a young boy, seriously. On the other side, look at historical figures like Mahatma Gandhi. He was a physically frail, 70-year-old man, yet he was capable of working tirelessly for 18 hours a day. So where did a frail old man get the energy that young, healthy men lack? It came entirely from his highly developed inner dynamo, his Atma Shakti. This whole concept is anchored by a really powerful philosophical truth from Socrates. When asked, "Who is a dead man?" Socrates replied, "He whose mind is dead." And you know, in this context, the mind doesn't just mean your ability to do math or memorize facts. It means your willpower, your drive, your vital life force. If that internal electrical energy is dead, your physical body is just an empty vessel. The mind is the true ultimate engine of human life.
All right, let's dive into Section 3, concentration of scattered powers. Think about drawing water from a deep well. You could use a modern water pump, you could pull a heavy rope, turn a chain wheel, or even just drop a pitcher tied to a string. The methods are entirely different, but the core principle is exactly the same. You are dipping a vessel into a source and pulling up water. Building willpower is exactly like this. There are countless techniques out there: meditation, breathing, focused exercises, but the underlying principle is always, universally, the concentration of scattered mental energies.
Let's walk through this next metaphor step by step, because it's honestly the absolute heart of the mesmerism philosophy. Step 1. Think of ordinary sun rays scattering weakly across a glass surface. This is our normal, everyday mind, distracted by 100 different thoughts, notifications, and worries. They provide a little warmth, sure, but they're essentially harmless. Step 2. You introduce a magnifying glass. Suddenly, those exact same ordinary rays are gathered and forced to concentrate into one singular, microscopic point. Step 3. That focused energy creates an intense, burning fire. Scattered, we're weak, but intensely focused, we possess world-altering fire.
And you know, this doesn't just stay a personal, internal metaphor. It zooms out to show how this works in the real world. Every instance of global power, from massive political leagues down to your local student union, relies entirely on this exact same principle. It's the unification of scattered forces. When isolated individuals concentrate their collective energy into a single unified direction, they become an unstoppable force. The psychology of mesmerism is simply applying this universal law of unification to the scattered thoughts inside your own head.
Okay, let's look at the evidence in Section 4. Proof of Atma Shakti in history.
History offers some fascinating and highly contrasting case studies of this raw willpower in action. We're talking everything from mythological figures like Hanuman, realizing his forgotten infinite power, to the 1800s with Napoleon, whose sheer force of will commanded the daunting Alps to step aside. Fast forward to the 1930s and 40s, and we see how pure, concentrated mental force can shape the globe in drastically different ways. We see Hitler using it to rise from an orphan childhood to fuel global destruction, alongside Gandhi using spiritual strength to rule 400 million hearts without any wealth or physical might. Now, regardless of the vastly different morality here, all these extreme outcomes were fueled by the exact same engine: concentrated inner power.
So, what is the common thread connecting these drastically different historical figures? Well, none of these feats were achieved through mere physical dominance alone. They were achieved because these individuals realized a fundamental truth. Humanity is not just a fragile construct of flesh and bone. Instead, inside every person lies a spark of an infinite, limitless power. They learned how to tap into that hidden electrical energy, that Atma Shakti.
Which brings us to our final part, Section 5, Right Use of Spiritual Wealth.
Now that we kind of understand the mechanics of building this immense power, we're faced with a big question. How do we actually apply it? Just as you use money to buy physical goods, you use this spiritual wealth to buy higher human experiences. You can use it for fortifying your physical strength and health. You can use it for empowering your mind and sharpening your intellect. You can direct it toward discovering hidden truths, achieving massive worldly success, or even reaching the highest peaks of spiritual realization. The possibilities are truly limitless when your internal dynamo is fully charged.
But, and this is a big but, there is a strikingly strict warning attached to this in the text. It says, "Do not make this pure, mother-like power into a prostitute dancing in the market for cheap entertainment." Wow. If you cultivate this profound psychological tool, this immense inner willpower, do not degrade it. Do not reduce it to cheap parlor tricks, stage magic, or frivolous entertainment. It is a sacred psychological science meant for true elevation, not a sideshow.
And that leaves us with the ultimate takeaway from today's explainer. You now know that the scattered rays of your mind can be focused into an intense, world-shaping fire. You know that Atma Shakti is the true dynamo powering human potential. So the question really isn't whether you have this power. You absolutely do. The question is, now that you know the secret of the spiritual wealth, how will you choose to spend it?